Good morning, everyone. It's Lindsey Hollis with SPS back in the building with another SPS Monday Motivation. Hope you had a good weekend. I had a great weekend, real chill, laid back, getting ready for another great one. We're here. Hope you guys are doing okay. As I always say, and many of you follow me know what I say, what does my Monday motivation come from? Either from the headlines or my personal experience. But guess what? This weekend, I didn't have anything on deck. I was just sitting and saying, man, I got to figure something out. And I was talking to my daughter, soon to be 13 this week on Wednesday. Oh my goodness. I said, yeah, baby daddy, got to figure out a Monday motivation. She said, well, daddy, I read something about, not letting water get in the boat, and how that it's because, it can sink ships. But a boat is always in water, and I said, "Wow, that's pretty good." And I started thinking, I'm like, "Wow, she's kind of on to something." So today's Monday motivation is brought to you by my soon-to-be teenager, Madeline Huddleston. That is, don't let the water in the boat. We're going to get into that, right? The power of the ship analogy, right? A ship can spend its entire life surrounded by water and never think. And that was what really got me about Malin's recommendation. I said, ships are in water all the time, all around water, and never sink. But it's when the water gets in the boat. So let's think about that. You want to guard your mind just like a ship guards itself from water, right? Negative thoughts like water must be kept out to stay afloat. Because when they start getting into that, that's when it messes you up, right? When those negative thoughts start getting into the boat, that's when you mess up. See, at first you chilling, you looking good out here, right? Doing well, right? Hey, but when that water starts getting in, it's a bad look, right? That's a bad look when that water starts getting in the boat, right? When the water starts getting in, the negative thoughts start getting in, that's when it impacts things. So let's keep thinking that. My brother Aaron Mays here this morning. Good morning, Lindsay. Good morning, brother Mays. Got Kevin Marshall Sr. as well. Good morning, my friend. Good morning to you, brother. Yeah, today's Monday motivation was inspired by my daughter. She said, yeah, Dad, don't let the water get in the boat. And also, you got to protect your mental space. Beware of those external negativity, but don't internalize. There's so much going on around us all the time. I think we get so used to it. That's the norm, and so much negativity going around. But you don't necessarily have to let it get in, especially if it's negativity that may be personal to you or directed towards you. I think that really is what hit me. And then my daughter is very rooted in the word. I'm glad that she's growing up with a Christian understanding of the word. It's a great foundation to have. We all know that. And she says, I reference Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, think about such things. So we have to remind ourselves to think about positive things, even when the negative was going around. I got my boy Joey in the building. Hella analogy, brother, bro. Keep doing your thing. I appreciate that. Hey, man, that came from my daughter. My daughter put me on game, man. My mother would tell me that she's so glad that I'm growing up to a young man that can give her information that inspires her. But I say it only gives me information. It's only based on what she shared with me. Same thing happened with my daughter. Oh, I missed somebody. Let me go back and do a recognition. I missed that one right there. Good morning, Michelle Mimi Watkins. How you doing? Hey, good to have you here as well. But I got all my folks checking in. Aaron Mays, Kevin Marshall Sr., Michelle Mimi Watkins, of course, my boy Joey representing. That's my guy right there. Good to see you, brother. We overdue to run into each other, just get up, just important. I appreciate that. But yeah, just think about this, guys. Let's stay with that. What's your application for the week? How can we apply this, right? I know sometimes we're careful to kind of get out of our comfort zones and start adding new things, but think about that. Why don't you work on recognizing when negativity is creeping in? Got to recognize that. Let me tell you how I can recognize that. And pretty much the only person that can get me like that is anything that impacts my daughter, right? And I remember talking to her and she was sharing something with me, and I felt like I was getting an immediate sinus headache. I felt like something. I said, man, huh? And then I kind of felt my temperature increase. There was like three things that happened physiologically that I felt. And I said, okay, hold on, you got to watch that. And I think that happens to us so often. We get so used to it. We become sensitive to it, to the fact that, we lose the sensation that happens so much. So when you realize that, you got to counter it with a positive affirmation or uplifting action. I think we don't do that enough. Sometimes we'll recognize the negativity, Joey, but we won't counter it. Right? We're like, oh man, it got me mad. But we don't turn around and say no, because that takes a little bit of action. I think just our default system as humans, we don't do that. What we got here? I got the greatest, no doubt. Good morning, son. My granddaughter is amazing. She's amazing, no doubt. Hey, she blows my mind every day. I know everybody say they baby smart, but I'm appreciative of mine. She put me on this game to do that. My brother Kevin Marshall says, keep your head on the swivel. You have to, brother. You have to. You got to be constantly thinking and moving. I think we try to get to this point, and maybe that'll be another Monday motivation about this thing called safety or being safe, but we constantly have to be present Be ready to respond. Also, another thing too, surround yourself with people who keep your ship steady. Hey, Joey's that kind of brother. I mean, I see that brother for 2, 3 years. I run into that brother, gonna be number positive. Same thing with everyone on my timeline: Kevin, Aaron, Michelle, of course, moms. You have to surround yourself with those kind of people. Don't think that you got to just keep dealing with certain kind of people, man. You got to keep it moving on some people. You got to peace out on them. And we want to talk about this emotional resilience. I was talking about resilience with the Ferndale softball team a couple weeks ago. And I just have to remind you all as well, resilience isn't about avoiding rough seas. It's about staying afloat through them. See, I think we have this idea in life, like I was saying, hey, I want it to be smooth all the time. But we don't have control over that. It won't always be smooth. But the question is, can you manage it when it's rough? Do you have your sea legs? You know what I'm talking about? Anybody been on a boat and the boat get to rocking and you got to kind of balance yourself? I went on a boat back in high school. My girlfriend back in high school, shout out to her and her family. She had a shit, man. I was sick. I was below deck, man. I was messed up. And then when I went on a cruise with mom and also with my then future fiance, I had to get the patch to get me straight. What we got right here? We got Joey, hear me back. You say, wow, that's even better. Great parenting and grandparenting. Your daughter is a very inquisitive mind. She would do great things. Well, brother, I appreciate that. They say train up a child in the way they should go. And it started with my mom always giving me game and sharing. And then I'm able to give that back as an adult. And then for my daughter, just, it was real. I threw it a oop and I was like, she threw me the oop, brother. I was like, yeah, babe, I got to work on that. She said, Daddy, you should hit with this. And I'm like, you got something. So I'm giving her all props right now, Joey, and I appreciate you recognize that and sharing it. But we're going to stay with it, man. Also, too, strengthen your emotional hull. The hull is that part of the ship, through mindfulness, journaling, and self-care. See, self-care still cannot be downplayed. I think we get past that. We think it's I don't even know what the negative connotation that comes with that, man, but sometimes it's taking a walk, taking a step back, having some time alone. One of the thoughts I had about the Monday motivation, like, can you find peace and happiness being alone with yourself and having some time to kind of think through and be at peace? And those things are important. Also, too, stay anchored in your values, not the storm around you. See, I think it's important to have values and have these principles that you stay on, because when the storm gets to move, it'll get you to shake and rock and say, I want to change how I do something. I want to do something different. If you stay rooted in your values, that's going to help you significantly. And your mindset matters, right? Also, what you focus on grows. I got to repeat that. What you focus on grows. Choose a mindset that builds you up. You got to be your own hype man out here in these streets, Joey. You know how I go. Kevin, you know how I go. Coach Mimi Walkers, you know how I go. Aaron, you got to hype yourself up. You got to pat yourself on the back, because if not, you try to look for people. And I think sometimes we put unfair expectations on people that are in our life. So, well, if this person is with me, they may not have that ability. They may not be able to read. Hell, they may be carrying their burden enough where they can't shout you out and big you up. You got to better do it for yourself. Joey hit me back. Joey says, appreciate the shout out and kind words. Got to chop it up with you at the joint of these days. Yeah, we got to get the Eddies, man. I be thinking about Eddies every time I come through. We'll put something together. I'll be getting down there really soon. I still got you. I'll hit you up. We'll sit down and post up and chop it up, man. That's my guy right there. Oak Park's finest, always representing as well. So here's the thing, guys. Stand with that. Got good people. Negativity is loud. You got to make your positivity louder. I'll go back to what I said. Sometimes we'll recognize the negative, but we won't respond with something just as loud. What do they say? Your apology got to be as loud as the disrespect. Same thing with negativity. We can recognize it. We got to make our positivity louder. We have to be able to get out of it. And I think that's a proactive trait a lot of us don't have, because we sitting there saying, man, it's supposed to happen, or we're looking for something. But you got to move forward. You got to lean forward. Anybody ever been on one of those Segway machines? The Segways that are real popular, and they kind of got in a lot of trouble because people was running off the cliff. Well, when I first got on one, I won't go into the whole story. They say you got to think about going forward. And when you start leaning, it starts moving. Well, there are ball bearings in the base of it. So when you think about going forward, you subconsciously start moving forward. Getting back to that, the negativity is loud. So you have to be proactive and lean forward into something positive that's just as louder. Going back to some scriptural references too, Romans 12:2 says, be transformed by renewing of your mind. You have to do this. You got to get this thing going. Again, too many times we put too much on people. You'll place blame on somebody for being negative, but you won't get on yourself for not coming back with a positive comeback. You may say, man, they always got something negative. Say, well, hell, what you got to say positive about yourself? Oh man, it's negative. Yeah, they negative, but what you got to say positive? What are you putting in your positivity ATM? When children are little, they say, Daddy, just go to the ATM. We got to be some money in there. What are you depositing? What positive things are you depositing? When you feeling good, feeling fresh, go back and have that. So when you got to go back through your mental Rolodex, Joey, you got to better pull some positive things. You know about that being on the hoop court. No, when you done got on, you was balling with us, balling with Rich, balling with us, and you done made the play, won the game. Hey, man, store that. So you can run that back. The same, it was other positive things. We got to better do that because sometimes we look for other people and they're not capable of it. And what are these daily practices, right? Start your day with gratitude. I always talk about that. Today I did my affirmations, and I start out what I was grateful for. And I'm grateful for my friends, my family, my loved ones, grateful for the opportunities, my health, so on and so forth. But you start with that because when you start showing gratitude, it allows you to be able to appreciate the things you have. Also, this is a strong way to limit your exposure to toxic influences. That's news, social media, and conversations. I have a new personal thing I do because, social media is unfiltered. Easy to see a fight come up. I scroll past the fights. As much as I want to be gawking and peeking, I scroll past it because I don't want to internalize that. I don't want to see that. So I pass through that, and I think that's helped me a whole lot. Got a lot of comments right here. Let me get to these comments, folks. Ezra Bell in the building, bro. What's up? Yes, sir. Ezra Bell, Grand Rising, my brother. Kevin Marcin says, every day I tell myself, I am somebody. I am a great black man. You got to tell yourself. That was part of one of my affirmations. Strong black man out here. And I think society really wants us to pull away from who our identity is, to where it's not politically correct to refer yourself as a strong black man. But you got to, man. That's the whole point. Society wants to break us, man, and it's the strength of being a strong black man that allows us to be great fathers, great husbands, great boyfriends, great supporters, great coaches, just great men, period, man. Hell, that may be enough just to get you to walk through the job and get through the day, right? Joey hit me with the facts, right? Also, Kevin Marsh says, yes, sir. So we got something good going. We got some good things going on for right here. For we will keep it going, still with it right here. Also, you got to speak life into your own spirit and into others. Just as Joey and I can be positive, Kevin and I, let's get back to speaking it to yourself because we're not letting the water get in the boat, right? You're not letting the water get in the boat. You can keep it out, but you also got to speak life. This is how I'm looking out here, staying with that. So we went from, the little dinghy that we want to be in, my man struggling. That's going to be a bad look, right? You see the water getting in the boat right here, right? You know how problematic it can be. But this is what I'm on, man. I'm looking at myself, man. I'm a luxury yacht with the helipad, Joey. We out here balling, Kev. We balling out here, right? I'm a luxury yacht going through the ocean, right? Meaning I am keeping all that negativity out, just like this luxury yacht is, right? But also I'm mindful of, too, that tragic story of the Titanic. It was big and it was luxurious and it did what? It hit an iceberg. So what that means, I'm still going to be paying attention. Going back to what Kevin said, keeping my head on the swivel, right? I'm still going to be paying attention, but I'm going to view myself as this luxurious yacht. I got to go back to the one with the helipad. We like to stunt where we from, right? With the helipad moving through. So all that toxicity, which is the water on the outside, I'm not letting it get inside. And I'm going ahead. And this is really helpful for the week I got coming up and the things I'm doing so I can stay focused on what's going on. But you got to speak life into your own spirit as well as doing it to others. And sometimes doing it to others can be the catalyst for you to do it for yourself. Because what do? We spend all the time hyping other people up. We won't hype ourselves up, right? Also, these are your tools to patch leaks before you sink your ship, right? This is how you got to do it. I don't want to be in that little dinghy I just showed you. I want to be in that luxurious yacht. And that's how I'm thinking going forward, right? So reflection questions. I think this is a good thing to think about. Ask yourself, too, what water negativity have I let into my boat this week? Ooh, what you done let in, huh? What is it possible you can let in with the week that you got coming? I got some responses. I got Joey hitting me say, got to big up ourselves and each other. Black man, sign a fellow black man. Yeah, you know what trips me out? How can black men be out somewhere and don't speak? That really gets me. Strangers are not. What's up, man? What's up? Maybe it's a Detroit thing, and maybe it's a urban thing. I know Kevin up there representing Saginaw. Maybe it's an urban core thing, right? Also, Michelle Mimi Walk says smooth sailing, watching for rough seas that might need to navigate. That's right. We smooth and we just keeping our head on the swivel and watching out. Oh, it's okay. Or in general. I got you, Joey. I got you in general. I feel it. We're gonna wrap this up with the time that we have. What do you also want to do? How can we reinforce our boundaries, right? Who or what helps us stay afloat when things get tough? My Monday motivation get me going. I get positive feedback from you great folks. And what's the call? Go action. Go be this week. This week, be the captain of your ship, the master of your soul, right? Monitor your thoughts. Stay focused on your destination, where you're going. Don't let anything unworthy take up space inside. Keep that water out, right? And remember, you control what gets inside. What I got going on, I got Joey say, dog, I'm hitting it with him. Right? The esteem of yourself. Yes, brother, get it. And Kevin says, yeah, I speak to all my kings. Big up to the kings and the queens. I'm going to get out of here, guys. We about at the 15-minute mark. You guys going to be great today, this week, and beyond. Hey, I love the support. Number love. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Peace.